Hi everyone, Eric here from Whose Turn Board Games, and today I'm going to be showing you how to play and set up the game Concordia. Now Concordia has been around for a little while. It came out in 2014 and it is one of the better board games. It's still very much a classic. A lot of people like to play it still to this day, so definitely recommend if you haven't tried it out, trying it out. It's a 2 to 5 player game. It does take anywhere, depending on how experienced you are, from an hour to 2 hours, so just kind of keep that in mind. As such, there are 2 different boards you can play. There is the Italy board, which is 2 to 4, and then the Imperium board, which is 3 to 5. So depending on the number of people you have, depends on what board you're going to be setting up. I'm going to be showing you the 3 to 5 player board, the Imperium. Nothing's different, it's just literally how the board looks. So one thing about this one is going to be it's kind of a weird mix of what the game plays like. A little bit of engine building, very slightly. It's got a lot of strategy with it. It's got worker placement and resource gathering, as well as resource management. So kind of a weird one overall, but very much a solid game. Check the review out for the game if you want to see our thoughts on it overall, but let's just get right into it. Now, as I stated, there's 2 sides, and I will be showing you the Imperium side. The other side is just literally Italy, just literally only that. So it looks a little bit like that. Looks a little bit different. It is a little bit smaller, and obviously it's meant for fewer people, so that's why. First thing you're going to do is pick a color. Obviously 5 colors: blue, green, yellow, red, black. I'm just going to go with black, red, and yellow. I'm going to be setting up for a 3-player game. Now each color is going to have 4 different pieces with it. They're going to have 2 different types of settlers. One is by land, one is by sea. Get more to that in a second. They're going to have 15 cities, as well as 1 score marker. For obvious reasons, you put the score marker on 0. Each player will take 1 land and 1 sea and set it up in Roma. Each player is also going to have a storage market, as you can see. There's going to be 8 spaces total that are blank. There's going to be kind of outlined for people and boats. You're going to take the last 2 people and the last 2 ships and put them in that like so. This is your storehouse overall. This is where you're going to be storing your goods. As you continue to build more and more settlers, they will open up. So you do start off with only 8 spots, but you will have a maximum of 12 once you have all your settlers built. And there are 5 different types of resources in the game. There's going to be brick, wheat, tools or iron, wine, and cloth. Each player will get 1 brick, 2 wheat, 1 tool, 1 wine, and 1 cloth, and put it in their storehouse. Doesn't matter where they go, they just have to be in your storehouse in some fashion. So it should look like this, where you have your 2 settlers in there, everything else will be on your storehouse in some fashion, and that's going to be your storehouse for your setup. Everything else will have to go to the side. Recommend 1 player keep track of that, because there's going to be a lot of motion going on with those. The next part of setup is going to be where the modular board kind of comes into play. You're going to find all the tiles that have A, B, C, and D on the back of them, and you are going to shuffle them after you get them in their associated piles. On the board there are going to be different cities that have different numbers or letters on them, I apologize. And it's going to be D, B, A, C, so on and so forth. You take every single one that is the A's. Once they're nice and shuffled in some random order, you flip them face up on all the A's in any random order. This is what randomizes everything, so you're going to end up doing it with all the letters. Now you can do it 1 of 2 ways. One, you can put them face down and just shuffle them all together and literally just put them out, matching A with A, B with B, so on and so forth, and then flip them once they're all there. Or do what I did where you set them in separate piles. Does not matter, just as long as they are randomized on how they go out and they are on the correct one. So now up next, you're going to be grabbing, it's going to have coins on one side and a resource on the other. You're going to take all of those, you're going to kind of give them a good shuffle, some capacity again, doesn't really matter how you do it. Once your knife is shuffled, you look and see where all of the different provinces are, and you're going to take the highest number resource on there. It does show on the top of your supply board what the values are, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold respectively. You're going to take the highest value one, so for example, anywhere there's a cloth, you're going to find a cloth and you're going to put it in that area. So Germania has a cloth, there's only the 2. I find it's number 4. I put a cloth there. You're going to put a resource side up. Britannia only has the brick, so it's only going to be that. Here's got wine, and you just keep going until all of them are out. As I stated, anywhere that's got a cloth will have that, then it'll go wine, and so on and so forth down its path. Now once they're all set up on here, the rest of them are going to just go back in the bag. They can go back in the box. You will not be using them for the rest of the game. Next thing to be set up is going to be the cards. For the cards, every single player color has got a specific back on it. So you take all of the one color, for instance, black, give that person, that's going to be your starting deck. I will go into the cards here in a little bit later, but they will get all of the black cards. Then take how many people are playing overall, so I'm going to be setting up for a 3-player game, so I'm going to take 3. On the back of the regular, let's say brown cards or so, there's going to be Roman numerals, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 5. However many players are playing the game, you only use those number cards. So for here, I'm setting up a 3-player game. I will not be using the 5 or the 4 card numbers. So I will be putting those back in the box, as well as any player colors I'm not using. I'm then going to shuffle up in their own piles all of the cards. So all the 3s should be shuffled together, then all the 2s together, and then all the 1s. You are going to put all the 3 cards on the bottom of the deck, the 2s on top of those, and the 1s on the very top of that. You will not shuffle them all together. It should go 3, 2, 1. And that is because at the top of the board here, there's going to be room for cards. You'll be flipping up cards starting off with the leftmost and working your way over. The rest of the cards will go off to the side. The other cards of note are going to be the Concordia card. This is going to be awarded to whoever finishes the game out technically. They'll get an extra bonus 7 points. So it's going to be set up to the side. You will use it, just not right away for setup. There are then going to be 5 little cheat sheets, so to speak. One side is going to be the scoring and shows you how to get victory points. The other will show you what you need in order to build the cities. So each player should get one of those just for reference. And then finally you should have the Prefectus Magnus card. This card will go off in a certain way. You choose who goes first just randomly. It can be any single person, it doesn't really matter in the end. We just sometimes flip a coin. What I'll do is I'll take a house from each person, I will shuffle them together, and we will pick one. That's the first player. First player gets 5 coins, second player gets 6, third player gets 7, and so on and so forth. The very last person also gets the Prefectus Magnus card. And that's set up overall. So players will be taking their turns, they will be playing one of the cards in their hand, and they will be resolving its action, which I will go into in here in a moment. It'll continue on in a clockwise motion up until someone either places all 15 of their cities onto the board, or every single one of the cards that are in the game are purchased. First person to do that, like I said, gets the 7-point bonus card. The other players then get an extra turn to finish off whatever they're doing, and then the game is scored. So I'll be going over what the cards do and how their actions and how they actually resolve themselves, and then I'll go into the scoring. So if you're looking for the scoring, go ahead and skip it ahead to the end. First card right off the bat is going to be the Tribune card. This is very important. So Tribune, take back all your personality cards and gain 1 gold basically. Stesteratiris? I can't pronounce that word. I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher a lot of these things. We do the best we can, but we're just not that good at that. So I'm going to say 1 gold. Let's go ahead and take 1 gold for each card that's taken from your stack of used cards and put back into your hand. You take all the cards back after 3. So if you have 3 cards, including the Tribune card, you get no extra gold. If you have 5 cards and then play the Tribune, you'd have 6. So you'd get 3, as you'd have 6 minus 3. This is how you get the cards that you play back into your hand. This one can be played at any point in time. It doesn't matter. The second part is 2 parts. The second part actually lets you build a colonist in Roma. So one of your ones in your stockpile that's in here, you can build either the seafaring or the landfaring settler. It doesn't matter which one you want to do. You just put them right in the middle there. Up next, Architect. When you play Architect, you get to move your colonists. You move however many spaces total for the total number of settlers you have. The only rule is that the landfaring must use the gray paths, and the seafaring must use the blue paths. Everyone starts off in Rome, and you must be on a path in between 2 cities. Rome does count as a city, you can just never actually occupy it. When you end your turn, when you get done moving your colonies, you can then build your cities based on the cities that are surrounding your settlers. So for example, let's just say I were to move my seafaring 1, 2. I would move 1 here to get between these 2, and then 2 here to go between these 2. I can then build a city on either one of these if I so choose to. The cost for the city is again on the little reference sheet. Now this is important because if there is already 1 person in that city, more people can be in that. It just multiplies by the number of people that would be in that city at the end of it. this means is that if black was on this one, for example, if red wanted to go in here to build a city, not only would they need to be adjacent to it, but also they would need to pay double the coin value. Not double the goods, just double the coin. So instead of 3 gold, it would cost 6. If a third person gets in there, it would cost 9, because it's 3 people at the end of the turn that would be in that city, times whatever the starting one is. So it does get quite expensive having multiple people in the same cities. The only other rule with Architect is that you cannot end on a spot where someone else is. This means that if red also wanted to move, they could not end here, but go here for 1 and then there for 2, as black's already ended their turn here. They cannot end in the same spot. They can go through if they had enough movement points to do so, but they cannot end on the same spot. So the next card is going to be the Prefect. When you play down the Prefect card, you have to have a city. It doesn't need to be your city, it just needs to have a city in one of the provinces. Let's say black had turned the one like this and they built a city in the line. Yes, they paid all the resources, let's just pretend. If they were doing the Prefect card and they did for Italy, they would then flip over the Italy symbol from the good onto the gold. They would get the good that's up here in the bonus tiles. It's up in the top here where we randomized. They would get that good, put it in their storehouse, and then every single person who has a city in that province gets those goods. As of right now, black would only have it, so they get an extra 1. If red were to have, let's say, a city on brick, they would then get a brick, even if black was the one who did Prefect. Red did the Prefect, they would get the brick as well as the wine, the bonus up here. If a province has been prefected once, meaning it's back on the coin, you cannot do it again, meaning you cannot collect resources from that province once it's been done once. You need to do the second action on the card, which is reset the bonuses. What that means is that you take all of everything that's showing money at the top here, you flip it back over to the good side. You then collect all of the money that's face up. So if there is 8 gold showing, you flip them all up, you then get 8 gold from the bank. The other caveat with Prefect is the Prefectus Magnus. If you have that and you Prefect, you get double the bonus resources at the top. Doesn't matter whose city it is. So keep that in mind. You have to use it if you have the Prefectus Magnus and you do Prefect, it automatically goes. You cannot save it for another time, you cannot do anything. This is kind of a weird card. When you all are all said and done using it, once you use Prefect and you own it, you pass it to the person anti-clockwise, meaning to your right. It goes in reverse order, I don't know why, but it does. So, next card in your hand is going to be the Mercator. This is going to be basically just trading. So instantly right off the bat you get some money, so the base one is 3. There is one that you can buy that gives you 5. You just get that gold automatically. You can then trade up to 2 types of goods. What that means is that you can actually trade multiples of one type of good, buying or selling. So for example, I have 3 wine here. Let's say I would sell all 3 wine. That's trading one type of good. The money is depicted on top of the storehouse. It is constant. It never fluctuates. It's always 6 for wine, 7 for cloth, 5 for tools, so on and so forth. So I would get 18 for selling my wine, plus the extra 3, so I get 21 gold. I could then purchase up to 1 other good, as many as I wanted to, as much as I have for a storehouse. The next card in your hand is going to be Diplomat. Diplomat's pretty self-explanatory. It uses any opponent's face-up card in their discard. As you're playing cards, you put them face-up, you only see the top one that's been played. Diplomat lets you use any one. So it basically is a wild card, but it's a wild card depending on what other people do. So if someone plays an Architect, and you want an Architect, you can lay down Diplomat, save your own Architect, move, build cities, do whatever you want to, but you get to basically play that for free. Alright, the last card in your hand that you start with is going to be Senator. Senator is where you are able to purchase the cards that are face up. In order to buy those, you need to have the goods for anything that's in the red. So for example, here it's tools, that's food, it's a wine, so on and so forth. Underneath the card itself, there is sometimes either a question mark or a cloth. In order to buy certain cards further down the road, you need to pay more resources, as it is supply and demand. So the first one, you only need to pay the red one. The second and third ones, you need to pay the red, so here it would be food, and any random extra resource. It's on you. And then it starts with whatever the red is, as well as the cloth. You need to have cloth for these 2. Here it's 2 cloth for the very last one, and it's cloth another random. So they get more expensive as you go further down, but maybe you want to have a specific one that showed up, and you're willing to pay the extra money for it. Just kind of keep that in mind. That is how Senator works. You can purchase up to 2. You can just do 1 if you want to, but you can only do a max of 2. Now I'm going to cover some of the cards that are only in the actual communal deck here. So first we're going to be covering Colonist. Colonist lets you build new settlers or colonists, whatever you like to call them, in any city you control. So you could have a city up here, and you could build a colonist up there if you so desire. They would start off in that city just like they start off in Roma, then would have to branch out from there. You can do as many as you want for as many food and iron as you have. Build 3, you can build 4, you can only have a max of 6, so obviously you can't go above that. The second option is that you were to get 5 gold plus 1 gold for every settler you have. Again, the max is 11 gold you can get for that 1 card. So the other ones that are special are the smith, the farmers, and so on and so forth, the weavers, I think, and the winists. They let you produce all of the goods that you have your cities in. So if I have 5 cities that can produce iron, you get 5 iron. Just you personally right then and there. The last card I'm going to talk about is the console card. The console card actually lets you purchase any 1 card up here, just like the senator. But unlike the senator, you can only do only 1, and you only pay its red cost. Meaning you could buy this very last one here for just 1 tool instead of 1 tool and 2 cloth. And that's how the game plays. Players will continue to take their turns until finally, as I stated, 15 of their cities, all 15 of the cities are on the board, where all of the cards are purchased, and then they'll proc the end game, which whoever finishes it gets the 7-point Concordia card that gives them bonus 7 points, and then everyone else takes their final turn. The person who ended the game does not take another turn, everyone else gets to, it's just, that's how the rules say. You then start tallying up the points. On the back of the reference card does kind of show you overall what it's going to be, but it can be a little confusing. So we'll just kind of break it down here real quick. The purple card, which is I think only on the senator, is 1 point, 1 victory point for every 10 gold you have, flat out. You take any resources that are in your stockpile and sell them to the bank for whatever their value is. Again, every single 10 points you get, every 10 gold you have, 1 point, rounded down. Up next is the blue ones. The blue victory points, every city that you have that is not a brick, you get 1 point for. You can have a maximum of 15 cities, and if you have no bricks whatsoever, you'd have 15 points maximum. What that means is that every single blue card you have, so if you have 4 blue cards, and let's say you have 10 cities that are non-bricks, you would get 10 points times 4, you get 40 points. Up next is going to be the yellow ones. The yellow ones are, you get 1 point for every province you are in. So again, there are 12 provinces when you're playing on the Imperium side, and every single one that you are in, you get 1 point for every yellow card you have in your hand. So if you have 4 yellow cards and you're in 10 provinces, that's 40 points. The brown ones. The brown ones, they give you 2 points for every resource that you're able to produce per brown card. There's a total of 5 resources, so if you can produce all 5, you get 10 points per brown card. The red card. Mars is 2 points per settler, per red card you have. The last one to talk about is the specialist card. So for example, the Smith, which is the ones for the productions, you get a bonus 3 points for every single city that you have that produces that resource. And that's Concordia. It's overall a very enjoyable game. I find this one pretty fun. There's not really too many games that I've played personally that are like it. I know there are other games that are out there, but I've never played them. I like the fact that it's got a lot of strategy to it, and I like that it's got, it's fun. Hope you found the video helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. If you enjoy other board game content, either board game reviews, how to play in setups like this was, or just kind of our thoughts in general about it, consider subscribing, following us along. Leave a comment down below if you played this game before, if it's one of your favorites. What do you like about it? Do you love it? Do you not like it at all? Do you think it's, hey, this game does it way better? Just let us know in the comments down below. We're always looking for conversations to be started. We like having it. There's actually 2 games that were recommended to us by people. So we're looking to see how we can acquire them. So by all means, if you know someone that plays like this, let me know. I really enjoy this game. If you want to see our review on that game, our overall thoughts, or what it does well, what it doesn't do so well, click on the end card or the icon up above. We will have that video out at some point on the channel, so check that one out if you want to see how we really feel about it overall between the 3 of us. Thank you all for watching. I've been Eric, and until next time, whose turn?